Details tonight on a twist in the search for a couple missing in the outback.
Jennie Kehlet went missing in the Goldfields near Sandstone. Her husband Raymond was found at the bottom of a 12-metre abandoned mine shaft, but Jennie had disappeared.
Any progress is good progress, and obviously the police have been busy with this in the background. Hopefully something comes of it.
At this point in time, we're not seeing anything that suggests criminality.
Are you serious?
Yes.
We've only got one side of the story.
We find Jennie, we will find out what happened.
It just doesn't happen out here. It's not normal behaviour.
Did you deliberately mislead the police about where you went with Ray and Jennie in Sandstone in March 2015?
No. It's not like them. They're experienced. They are not lost. Something terrible has happened.
Welcome to this bonus episode of Some Kind of Closure. We've had an incredible response to the first two episodes. I want to thank everyone who's listened, shared, and reached out. As an independent production, we're working hard behind the scenes to bring you new information, new interviews, and new episodes. But these things do take time. In the meantime, we want to keep you informed and engaged with relevant content that adds depth to the story. Episode 3 is currently in production and will focus on Graham Milne's long journey home. A key part of that narrative involves Marc and Gina Granville, two prospectors who had a very strange encounter in the early hours of March 22nd, 2015 on the Paynes Find Sandstone Road near the turnoff to the campsite where Ray, Jennie and Graham had been camping. In this bonus episode, we'll be releasing a recreation of Marc Granville's witness testimony from the 2020 coronial inquest into the death of Ray Kehlet and the suspected death of Jennie Kehlet. But first, a short bit of context. Marc and his wife Georgina are no strangers to the Sandstone region. At the time of the coronial inquest in 2020, Marc explained that for the previous 5 years, he'd been spending about 180 to 200 days a year in the region, prospecting through both summer and winter. That level of experience makes him more than qualified to speak to the conditions, landscapes, and roads in the Sandstone region. In the pre-dawn hours of March 22nd, 2015, Marc and Georgina were driving south on the Paynes Find Sandstone Road when they came across a vehicle with a trailer pulled over on the left side of the road, facing south. As they slowed down to check if everything was okay, they were taken aback by the erratic behaviour of a man who had been squatting down beside the trailer. He rushed toward their vehicle, waving them off aggressively and yelling in a threatening manner. In all their years of travelling through the outback, the Granvilles had never seen anything like it, and the image of that man has stayed with them ever since. That sighting occurred not far from where Ray Kehlet's body would later be discovered. What makes this testimony so important is that Marc and Georgina are the only independent eyewitnesses to encounter someone in that area at that critical time. Having driven this road myself, I can say that traffic is not frequent. The Granvilles certainly weren't expecting to see anyone that morning, and the man they encountered clearly wasn't expecting to be seen either. His shock and aggression suggest he was not just surprised, but completely caught off guard. Both Marc and Georgina's accounts were presented in detail at the inquest, and while we'll touch on some of that in episode 3, we thought it would be beneficial to share the majority of Marc's testimony here as a bonus episode. This is a rare and important piece of first-hand testimony, and we hope it gives you valuable context as we move toward episode 3 in the coming weeks. One final note before we begin. Marc Granville isn't just an experienced prospector. He also served as a volunteer firefighter for 14 years, including as a lieutenant overseeing teams in the field. In that role, he became accustomed to navigating remote terrain, managing vehicles, and crucially, training himself to notice and remember faces, vehicles, and movements in the bush. As he told the coroner, That attention to detail once helped secure the conviction of an arsonist. It's worth keeping that in mind as you listen to what he saw and what he remembered on the morning of March 22nd, 2015.
Who were you on that prospecting trip with?
With my wife, Gina, Georgina Granville.
And where were you prospecting at that time?
Sandstone.
And how long was your trip?
Just over 2 weeks.
And when you went prospecting in Sandstone on this occasion, where did you base yourselves?
We based ourselves at a particular time with a new caravan in Sandstone Caravan Park, Atkinson Caravan Park.
And your statement deals with an encounter that you had during that trip along the Painsfind Sandstone Road. Are you able to recollect the date of that encounter?
Yes, I can. The date was early morning of the 22nd, a Sunday morning of March 2015.
And are you certain of that date?
Absolutely.
And how is that the case?
Well, because I remember it because that's the day we did something different.
And what was it that you did differently?
Well, we were going to you and me because we were prospecting on the western side of Sandstone up until that day. We got up very early and decided to go there because the weather had been changed. So we wanted to get there very early. So we basically made breakfast and lunch to take with us so we didn't have to muck around in the morning and just shoot off. So we literally just had to jump in the car and go.
Do you have a recollection of what time it was that you woke up?
Probably approximately 4:30. I probably woke up at 4:30 because I would have put it on my phone, but by the time I go to bed, sometime around there, cup of coffee, then gone.
And your statement relates to an encounter that you had. Can you just explain to me exactly what it was that you first observed?
Okay, well, my first observation was driving down the road. I got a reasonably good eyesight for long distance. There was an unusual lights in the distance, which straight away I recognised as a vehicle because they're an unusual size, which was unusual, but as I came closer, I turned the high beam off. Then the closer I got, I could see there was a vehicle on the side of the road with a camper trailer. As I approached it, it was obvious that the person hadn't quite spotted me yet because they didn't respond till I was in closer. So I'd spotted them before they spotted me. He was looking at the left-hand side toolbox of the camper trailer out the front, bending down, looking at it, not really doing much, just looking at this particular box, which I had no idea what that was at the time, and I still have no idea now, but he was concentrating on that. And as I got closer, he noticed that I was there and he got up. He stood upright, walked towards the back of the camper trailer, and as we were slowing down, probably to around 5 k's an hour, we approached the person was being completely erratic in all ways as far as his attitude. He was like, fuck off, which was totally out of character of anyone that's ever been down a lonely track at any time in your life. It's not something that is, it's not normal behaviour at all, ever. I've never seen it before and I've never seen it again, so...
Just for the purpose of the transcript, you were raising your arm and effectively moving your forearm in a dismissive or motioning away?
Yeah, it was like, fuck off, he was saying. That's how he looked at me. So I couldn't hear it, but everything else was the indication. Sorry for the words, but that was the indication.
And you've referred to observing a person and a vehicle. Can you describe the vehicle that you observed?
No, not at that particular time. As I drove past, I can describe it, but right coming up to it, I couldn't see the vehicle very well at all because of the trailer. But yes, as I go past, I could see it was a dark four-wheel drive, and that's basically all I remember. Because at the time I'd driven past that particular person, my attitude was, well, stuff you, mate. So I didn't really pay much attention to the vehicle after that.
And you've referred to a trailer?
Camper trailer.
Can you describe the trailer?
Yes, basically the trailer had very unusual lights on the back. When I say unusual, they were very small for the size of the trailer. I remember thinking it at the time. Also, the trailer had an unusual way of being balanced. It was very unusual to see a trailer out at that time in the morning, purely because it was hard enough for us to get up and be going down the road at that sort of time. So I imagine how that person would have packed up in the dark. And I just thought it was really strange that a camper trailer would be, and then to have a quad bike on top, looks like it was amazing. So I assume that the person must have been working into the night to get that on the back. So that's why it's stuck in my head. And the attitude of the person as well, which is also stuck in my head. And after that, I basically didn't think anything of it until obviously the issues that arose later on. So,
taking it one step at a time, the camper trailer, can you describe the colour?
Well, one thing I can remember was the shiny, I'm not saying it was checker plate, but it was very similar to the shiny part. As you see on that picture that I've given to the court, as you approach it, you can actually see the left hand of that camper trailer that I could see very much, because I was like getting my own sort of reflection back off that thing. So it was actually bright enough to give me some sort of reflection back, whether it was checker plate or a smooth, shiny surface, but definitely gave a backlight of some description. Obviously, the vehicle was obviously going at the time, the other person's, and the lights were on, so they probably wouldn't have heard us coming up until such time as we were closer.
And for the avoidance of doubt, the vehicle or the trailer was stationary when you saw them?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And you referred to a bike on top of the trailer?
Correct.
Can you describe what the bike looked like and how it was positioned?
Well, it was facing east-west, which I thought was strange. Normally a trailer would have a quad bike sitting on it going the same direction as the vehicle, but this particular one was sitting going the other way as far as I can recall. It was also a dark colour.
Do you have any recollection of how the bike was attached to the trailer, if at all?
I didn't pay attention to how it was attached, no.
And you mentioned earlier that you thought the trailer looked unbalanced.
Yeah, because...
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, just because all the weight was sort of sitting out the back, and it seemed to be quite a long trailer, so it was quite unusual that it would do that, you know. I've been towing vehicles and stuff for years, and I just didn't see it as a good move. Maybe it was fine, but I just wouldn't have done it like that, no.
So can you just repeat that? How did it look to you?
Well, unbalanced because of the way the trailer was actually sitting on the back of the vehicle and the way the quad was situated. Seemed like a lot of weight would have been bouncing up on that apex because it would have been light there. All the weight would have been at the back, so if you drive a car and put too much weight on the thing, the wheels go up at the front and then the other way around. It's just driving a vehicle on the gravel would be very difficult and wouldn't be, the vehicle is not balanced.
And you've explained the toolbox. Can you just explain again where that was in the context of the quad bike and the trailer?
From the picture I've shown you, the camper trailer, it's facing as if you've come out of the road. You haven't quite straightened up yet to continue down the road. So you could actually see the side of the camper trailer. The front toolbox was quite large. It wasn't a toolbox. It could have been a very large toolbox, big enough to, you know, throw anything in. So it was quite large sort of door. Obviously in those ones, they probably go from east to west. I'm not sure. I don't know the brand, so a lot of them do. I'm assuming it did. So it was quite a large box at the front of the camper trailer, that's what I saw. The gentleman, I won't use that word actually, the person that responded to me at the time, that's where he came from.
Just going back to, you've referred to the drawing you've prepared. Can you just explain how the vehicle and the trailer were aligned? Were they aligned? Were they not aligned?
Not aligned yet. Another 10 metres, they would have probably been straight. By that time, because they'd just come through and turned around out of the bush, you could tell they actually hadn't straightened. If you come out of something until such time as you go far enough for those back wheels to bring it in line with you, you're not going to be straight.
Just to clarify, did you see the vehicle move at any point?
No, it was stationary the whole time, did not move off, even after we drove off.
So you just explained, am I right in understanding that your evidence is you have surmised how the vehicle might have moved in order to...
I wouldn't surmise that. I just about guarantee that's how it happened, because there's no other way the vehicle would look like that unless they'd actually just come out of the bush. I do it all the time myself. I always just get out of the bush, you check your load, make sure everything's right, then you go off.
Was the entirety of the trailer and the vehicle observable, or was any of it...
The trailer was very much visible to me, so I noticed that sort of thing. The vehicle, as I said, when the person had that attitude, I took no more interest in what was going on.
Was any of it obscured by any bushes?
No.
Trees?
No.
And you've explained how you've come up to the vehicle. Am I right in understanding your evidence that you see the gentleman or the person on either is it the passenger side or the driver's side?
No, the passenger side of the vehicle, moving towards the back, and he came aggressively towards us, telling us to fuck off.
And is the vehicle on the left side of you or on the right side?
Same direction as us. I'm passing it because it's on the side of the road going towards Payne's Find.
Mark, you've referred already to the individual that you saw and what you observed them doing when you first saw them. Am I right in understanding your evidence? When you first saw them, they weren't standing?
Yeah, they were squatting down, looking, yep.
And were they in profile to you? Were they looking direct at you?
Sideways.
And how would you describe the person that you saw?
Besides being an arsehole?
What physical features did you observe?
Well, very similar to the person in the room today.
At this stage of the proceedings, Marc Granville pointed directly at Graham Milne, and the tone of the room shifted dramatically, with audible shouts from family members. The coroner, Ross Fogliani, quickly took control, saying,
"Well, wait, just wait.
May I ask you just to give your independent recollection?
Just from your own memory, but not from pointing to anybody, Mr. Granville, yes?"
Well, he had a jacket on that was very sort of yellowy, whitey light. His jacket looked like it could have been a faded khaki, and that's how I presumed it to be in my mind the whole time. He had short hair. His jacket was quite a larger sort of jacket, as in sort of those loose jackets. And yeah, besides that, yeah.
And are you able to estimate the age of the person you saw?
Well, he's an older bloke, older than me, so I'm assuming that, he's got to be over 55, 65, somewhere around there, I'd guess.
And you've explained how you saw this person, how they were positioned. Are you able to recollect how close it was that you got to the individual at any point during this encounter?
Yes, well, probably the distance between me and the gentleman down there, about 7 metres, something like that.
So you're pointing to Mr. Cridland at the end of the bar table?
Yeah, approximately 7 metres.
And you've explained the speed at which you were travelling earlier on the Payne's Find road. You've already referred to slowing down. How slow did you pass the individual in the vehicle?
I would have slowed down enough to see him, 5 kilometres an hour, pull up to a stop right before I went past him, so it would have been quite slow, very slow. 5 kilometres an hour would have been the maximum. 10 kilometres, no way.
Do you have a recollection of the height of the trailer as opposed to the height of the person?
Well, the trailer did look big.
Do I take it from that you're not able to say?
No, I'm not able to say. I'm only guessing here, The size of the person is, well, he wasn't tall, I can tell you that much. But to decide whether he's 5 foot, 5'4.5", 5'6.5", I couldn't. I'd be guessing I don't know, I'd say you're about 6'1", but I could be very wrong.
You're a very good guesser. Just going back to the point about the movement, you've explained that he was not standing. Do I take it from that he moved to a standing position?
Correct.
And then what did the person do?
Well, he moved towards us as we were coming closer to the car, to the trailer.
And do I understand from that he has moved on the passenger side, closer to your vehicle, in a sense of walking alongside the trailer, closer to the front of your vehicle?
Correct. But yeah, he's on the passenger side walking
And at that point, are you seeing him in profile, face on?
I saw him face on, yes.
And do you have a recollection roughly how long it was that you saw him face on?
Could have been, same thing again. So this is also, I'd assume somewhere between 10 to 20 seconds. I would have seen him coming toward me, towards face on. Would have been the time it takes to walk from the back to the front of the vehicle, to the back and wave your arms like a silly man. And then that was about it. So whatever it takes, time to do that.
Do I take it from that after he has moved from the crouching position or the bent position, he stood up, he has moved?
Straight away.
And then straight away...
Towards us.
Done the action that you referred to?
As soon as he's got to the corner of his trailer at the passenger side, that's when he started to react like quite unusual.
And did you hear anything that this person was saying?
Oh, we had the windows closed because of the dust.
In your statement, you have referred to a news article that you were told about in June 2015.
Correct.
Can you explain what that news article was?
Oh, it was a television thing that we'd missed, and we're told by friends, so we got it up on video on the iPad, and it was channel, I don't even know the channel, but Liam Bartlett was interviewing or trying to interview a hostile witness or whatever person who was quite angry, and
And did you watch this news item with your wife, Georgina?
Correct.
And is it correct in your statement, you have referred to thinking the person had similar characteristics to the person you saw?
Correct.
During your encounter?
Correct.
Madam JSO, if the witness could be shown this image, yes. Just wait until I ask you a question before you make any comment, please, for the court. Mark, I'll ask you to listen to the question carefully. Is this an image of the person that you saw in the news article, the news article that you've referred to?
Correct.
In your statement, you have referred to returning to Sandstone and marking some GPS locations where you thought you had this encounter. Is this correct?
Correct.
Do you have a recollection, roughly, of when that was?
Well, I rang Crime Stoppers when the body of Raymond was found, or just after. Then I hadn't heard from the police for quite some time. Then I spoke to him on one occasion on the phone. And then the next lot that came up, Mr. Foster, I think it was, spoke to me. And I rang when I was up there, when I had the GPS coordinates. So,
would it have been months after the encounter? Weeks?
If I had my GPS, I'd tell you the exact date, but I don't, so I can't.
You said in your statement that it was recently you returned to Sandstone.
Yes.
Do I take it that it was then around about the time that you provided your statement, or close in time?
It would have been around the time, because they came shortly after that because they wanted to do a statement around the time they saw him. We were already that way, so they wanted us to catch up with them when we got back. So that was in June. So it would have been before that. So it would have been May, I'd assume.
And you say it's an approximate location?
Yeah.
And you have included 3 different coordinates. Is there a reason necessarily as to why there's 3 different coordinates as opposed to 1?
Well, the 3 locations are probable places it would have been at the time, yeah, because of the straight stretch. Because I remember coming around slowly, seeing it on the road, and then it's straightened out, and it's quite a straight road. So there's only a few places on that particular road, so close to Sandstone, after the bitumen, I should say, that sits in that area. So I just wanted to make sure. So basically it was either there or there. So
at the time that you took the GPS coordinates, were you aware of the site the Kehlets had camped out in March 2015?
No, I've never been to their campsite.
Do you know where the campsite is?
Well, if it's near the tabletops, I know where the tabletops are, yes.
But you don't know specifically where the campsite...
No idea. I've never been there. I remember seeing a downward area quite significantly in the distance with tiny little lights because it was so dark. Any light was just like a beacon. It was just so obvious that it was, as soon as I came around, I could see the lights in the distance. And I remember seeing the tabletops because I'd mentioned it to my wife as I was driving, because you can see the lights for the telecommunications tower. Because that was also, you could probably see that at any time of night. So yeah, that's why I remember the location within that space of area.
The person you saw at the trailer, can you recall what pants they were wearing?
No.
Can you recall anything else distinctive about them?
Both attitude and stance and the jacket. Realistically, once the person acted in that particular way, I wasn't really that keen, if you know what I mean.
Towards the end of Marc Granville's witness testimony, lawyer Sarah Keary, a representative of the WA Police Department, took the opportunity to ask some clarifying questions.
You mentioned that you're a prospector.
How much experience in prospecting in the sandstone area would you have?
I think I've been going to sandstone for approximately 10, 12 years, probably half a year along there through summer and winter. This year and the last 5 years, I've been up there probably 180 to 200 days a year, so yeah.
Have you ever heard reference to $1 million patch or a $3 million patch?
Never. If there was, it'd be gone, sorry.
Have you ever heard reference to something called a hole or the hole?
There's plenty of them around, but no reference to those either, no.
Have you ever gone prospecting at night time?
No way, never.
Do you descend down mine shafts when you go prospecting?
Me? No, never. Well, not unless they're like just steep.
Would you descend down a 12-metre mine shaft in your experience?
No, not without the right gear, nah.
What would be the right gear that you would use?
You'd have to have a, what do you call those things? There's a word for it.
A Larkin frame?
Yeah, the frame. You'd have to have the right gear because otherwise, yeah, it'd be too dangerous.
Have you ever seen someone use a vehicle to descend down a large mine shaft in the sandstone area while you have been prospecting?
No, it's too dangerous because you wouldn't do it. Too many variables. I believe in safety too, by the way, and I wouldn't take the risk.
Do you carry an EPIRB with you when you're prospecting?
Yes, I do. GPS, EPIRBs, lighters, whistles, everything.
If you got lost, would you use your EPIRB? While prospecting in this area, would you use your EPIRB and whistle?
Well, only as a last resort because, so they'd know where I am.
Because you go there 6 months of the year.
I would still carry one for the very reason that you just never know. But yeah, I do carry an EPIRB with me. I do have a GPS for marking coordinates. But yeah, you wouldn't be too clever if you wander around without a GPS, full stop.
And you mentioned that you were a volunteer firefighter, is that correct?
I used to be, yes, 14 years.
Does your volunteer firefighting experience help you in the bush?
I get, because I was a lieutenant as well, so I basically used to have teams underneath me, and we used to also have a sector commander, so we used to have to look after large amounts of vehicles at the same time, distribute them. So as far as knowing where everyone is and using maps, GPS, all that sort of stuff, it's sort of like not a given, but you are using it as well as seeing people in the bush, and you have to remember what they look like and what they're driving, purely because if there's an incident later on and it was a fire lit by someone, you have to remember. You have to remember what you saw. So yeah, I've actually been a witness to prior to this, for an arsonist that was convicted many years ago. So
would you describe the sandstone area just in terms of for the court's benefit? Are there a lot of disused mine shafts in that area?
Oh, they're everywhere. There's a lot of them around, and as a rule, most people just keep away from them. There's just no reason to go down them. The old boys never really missed much. They were pretty clever boys. They had it harder than we did.
Would you be careful whilst prospecting that you didn't fall down a mine shaft?
You'd be very frivolous with your life if you didn't.
In your experience, would you go running around the area this area in sandstone?
Me? I wouldn't run around anywhere there, even during the day. If you hurt yourself, it's not like you can go to the local doctor or a hospital. You have to, I'm carrying everything with me, including medication, managers to be able to fix myself or anyone with me. I even carry a defibrillator with me just in case I come across somebody who needs to be brought back. So I'm very conscious of what is and isn't available in the sense of an area which, is nothing. There's nobody to help you if something goes wrong. So you have to be very careful. And the Royal Flying Doctor is a lovely little bunch of people, and I donate to them, but they're the only ones that are going to come get you if something goes wrong.
In future episodes of Some Kind of Closure, we'll continue to explore the key details of Ray and Jennie's final trip, speaking with family members, experts, and others closely connected to the case. If you or anyone you know has information about this case, you can contact us via our Facebook page, The Man in the Hole. As the series unfolds, we're hopeful that more people will come forward with insights that could help piece together a clearer picture and ultimately bring the families some kind of closure and hopefully justice. It's also important to note that a $2 million reward is currently being offered for information leading to a conviction in this case. This is one of the largest rewards in Australian history, offering a powerful incentive for anyone with knowledge to come forward. If you have any information related to this case, please contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. Even the smallest details could make a huge difference. That number again, 1800 333 000. We acknowledge the Badimaya people of the Yamatji Nation as the traditional custodians of the lands where this episode was recorded. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and recognise their enduring connection to this unique and beautiful place. Thank you for listening to Some Kind of Closure. If you found this episode valuable, please consider subscribing and leaving a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It's a quick, free way to support the show, and it really helps us reach more people. This is a fully independent production. If you'd like to support the podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Just get in touch via our Facebook page. Lastly, we acknowledge the presumption of innocence for all individuals discussed in this series. Any opinions expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the producers. Thanks again for listening.
We've only got one side of the story.
They were just everyday people.
We find Jenny, we will find out what happened.
And the truth will prevail.